I open mics like autopsies, commune with perspectives like dissected organs, absorbing the truth within every story until I needed a sedative. I became bored with the negatives, lyrically spliced life was much like rolled dice and practice true positivity till I finally became immune to negativity like oranges with vitamin C, breaking hinges off the door if you invited me to a pity party, hardly a force to be reckoned with, infected with so much positivity, I pee pet peeves until my pee is seen clearly. So positive, even the negatives in my mind added a line just to become a plus sign to stop opposing and grow with me. Even my fears want to hang out sometimes. And I hug them until they can cope with the scope of non-existence. It's just what happens when a focused mind has way too much time to think. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. My name is Sean Hill, and I'm pleased to meet you. This is just the first poem that I'm rapping. I'm just a baby waking up from his napping, learning how to walk and talk this life, from writing with chalk and concrete to rocking with break beats. Hip-hop became my training wheels to the point where I could speak. So forget about doing hip-hop. I pop and lock and then eat hip-hop. I am what I speak, and if you are what you eat, then I am hip-hop. Reincarnated, never debated to be the best. I ain't trying to be nothing less than myself. So help me or not, my throat is on fire. I don't mean to burn you. I'm just breaking shackles like Nat Turner, but believe equality like Gandhi. See, I'm not a peace Nazi. The paparazzi couldn't stop me from getting the scoop like Cold Stone. I'm home alone in the zone like, oh, fellow, hello, is anyone out here? If I scream and no one hears me, do I make a sound? Check marks the box, like it or not. I don't need your approval for this to be hot. And if it's ice cold, well, I honestly don't know and don't care. But to be fair, I care if it's true. So let's play out the facts. I got your back like chiropractors. I want to be in your scene like the best actors. Hey, your DNA is beautiful. Let me be the X factor. But I got to get going eventually, so please don't miss me. I'll be back before you know I'm gone. I want to bring you songs better than fairy tales and nightingales, so I'm getting on tracks like John Henry, and offend me, almost impossible. It wouldn't be logical. It's more probable to turn your energy into something possible, like world peace. And even then, many say that's highly unlikely, like a lock without a key, but I bend reality. We can all bend reality. We can turn the improbable into the everyday ordinary. Thanks for listening, y'all. How are we doing so far? Okay. How many of you are familiar with spoken word poetry at all? Okay. All right, good to know. And then also, how many of you are deathly afraid of poetry? All right, thank you for being honest. I hope to ease that. And I'm going to invite you to do something amazing by the end of this, in case you don't know. I got one more piece to share with you real quick, and then we'll dive into some really beautiful ideas that I'm happy to be here and share with you. So this is an example of a poem that I will reference later. So take very good note of how this feels to you and what happens to you in as much as me saying it and delivering it, okay? Sounds good? I'm only human. I'm only human. I'm only human. I'm only infinite. I'm only connected to a collective consciousness of an entire species who thrives to exist. I'm only a single part of a whole. I'm only a single universe of atoms. I'm only DNA directly affected, culminating to the current vibration combination of chromosomes, testosterone, estrogen, H2O, and more. I'm only human. Having this consciousness as large as my imagination, able to create illusions as real as blueprints to buildings until manifested as constructed concepts become tangible. My imagination is impossibly perfect. Designed to envision, I have visions that can give me stress or give me alternate scenarios to test while calling my body to react. Like imagining drowning could make me short of breath, while the image of myself in bed with a love that has the self-confidence of a lion with the heart of a penguin could make my heart skip a beat a lung or a decade. I'm only human. With this capacity to love that makes each breath I take feel like it matters, and to make matters worse, it makes it feel like I matter to someone else, with a wealth inside that feels like diamonds dyed compared to this feeling of bliss from a kiss that was free to give, to receive honestly, human. From Pangea to now, we are and have always been one, with determination, discipline, and infinite gifts to confront our grief, suffering, and ignorance, to completely face the worst in ourselves throughout our history and still see through any misery beyond bending reality, confidently connecting new synapses and new habits to progress and change the process, then remain together, to keep going on as lovingly as possible through all previous obstacles. It seems like being human is the best thing we could ever say we are. Thanks again for that, y'all. Thanks again for listening. Whew. All right. So for those of you that were deathly afraid of poetry, I did not start out this way. I really found a great way of discovering myself, reflecting, and doing critical thinking on things I want to go through in life or things that I need to go through in life with poetry. And I remember the first time that I used it was, like in a heavy way, was with kind of just a big heartbreak. And from that moment on, I had just the most powerful form of closure I could have ever had by saying all the things that I've always wanted to say to someone, right? And now doing this for as long as I've been doing it, these are the kind of events now that I'm a part of. And any small event to any big fundraiser or conference, I'm having a great journey, seeing how much poetry has affected just everyone in our lives, in your life maybe, in ways we don't really know, in ways we don't even imagine sometimes. And these events, they're such a blessing because after a while, you feel really excited about life, but then after a longer while, I start thinking, okay, am I just talking? Am I even making sense? Am I doing anything? Am I changing things? And so when I went to Africa last year and was part of an organization called buildon.org where we went and built a school. We went to build a school in Africa, y'all. It was a gender equal school, and it was an amazing experience for me where I felt all the words and all the poems I've ever done in my life made me feel like I was ready to fully experience that and fully put my words where my actions are, right? And now, after doing that, my own self-integrity, my own self-judgment, my own self-worth, now I feel I'm complete in that. And then the funny thing is that this quote by Alan Moore really summed up everything I feel about poetry. Art is like magic, right? That there's a science of manipulating words and symbols and images to change people's consciousness. And this is where he gets deep. He says, indeed, to cast a spell is simply to spell, right? To use our words. And that way we can change consciousness. And he says it's the closest thing we have to a contemporary form of a shaman. Whew, right? It's kind of powerful, kind of amazing. So now I realized that since poetry can take care of these basic needs that we have in our life, the self-actualization, the love and belonging, the self-esteem, and even for those of you that are super deep into science, that they can actually help us heal ourselves, right? That we can actually say things in our mind to ourselves and we're able to heal our body. I invite you all now to bend reality with me, to bend your own reality. I've actually developed a really simple way to create a story or a poem of yours and help you find out what your ideal world looks like, to understand who you are as a person, what the things are that you care about, how to live your passionate truths out in a way that is phenomenal and uplifting and you feel good about it every single day. And it only has to be 2 minutes long, okay? So don't be afraid. 2 minutes is enough to dive into an amazing story of who you want to be. And also be specific and as affirmative as possible. Whenever you speak out, do's or don'ts and all that stuff, kind of clouds things up. Here's a list of 5 things you can do to really sum up everything that you want to accomplish, things you love about yourself. I want you to upload and share it, okay? And don't worry, this information will come back to you. And lastly, after creating your own reality, and it's not enough for you, please remember that it's better to light a candle than to curse the dark. that you don't have to complain about your life anymore the way it is. If there's anything you want to change, you have the ability to change it. You can create this story, this visual storyboard, this cinematic storyboard of your new life, your new reality. And please, of course, have a great day.